Alrighty. Hello, everybody. I'm going to do something a little bit different than what I normally do on this channel, which is, this is going to be a little bit of a longer form video, probably. I honestly don't, I'm not going to lie. I don't know how far through this speech I'm going to make it. I have skipped up ahead about, 5.5 minutes up to, because a lot of the beginning is, just him name calling, like, his homies, in the agencies and at the DOJ there. So not a whole lot super special. If you want to go watch it, you can watch it from the beginning. But I have skipped it ahead a little bit to just make this not an absolutely super long video, longer than it needs to be. But yeah, so in case you didn't hear, Donald Trump delivered his remarks today at the DOJ, at the Department of Justice. Now, generally, for those, and I had to look into this because I was like, do presidents usually do this? Turns out no, presidents usually do not give speeches, especially because you're about to hear this speech. It kind of just sounds like one of his rally speeches. He's just giving a Trump rally at the DOJ. That's what's happening now. That's what the presidency is, right? So very cool. But yeah, he is at the DOJ, which generally, yes, the executive branch, even though the DOJ is under the purview of the executive branch, there have been people at least try to pretend like they don't have, they don't have their hand right up the DOJ's ass, as far as using them like a puppet and everything. Like Biden, would have never been caught dead doing this. In fact, Biden did pretty much everything he could to separate himself from, the existing agencies in the DOJ. Because these are agencies that they were intended by Congress, in the most ideal circumstances, to act independently of the president. The president can appoint these people, but these people have differing terms so that, they're not necessarily politically, subject to one person's thing. They're supposed to, it's why the FBI director generally has 10-year terms. It's why, these things have been thought out. They've been thought through by many people, by lots of people, not just a couple. We elected representatives to do this work and make laws for us. And now Donald Trump is saying, no, I make the laws now. So we're going to watch a little bit of this speech. I'm going to try to make it as far through as I can. So this might be anywhere from a 30, 40 to an hour long. We'll see. We're about to find out. You'll be able to find out by the timestamp. But without further ado, and this is about right when he's about to get into the main commentary here. So this is Donald Trump today at the DOJ. Here you go. Oh, and actually, you know what? I think I just realized it's a good thing I caught this before. I did not have my desktop audio. Let me make sure that still plays. Wait. Oh, no, because I still have it muted. Here we go. Okay. Now we're going to play it for real. Now that I got my audio sorted out. Here we go.
Steve has been something very special. For generations, the Federal Department of Justice was one of America's most revered institutions. The men and women of the DOJ brought down the mafia, hunted down the killers, kingpins, and spies, tracked down terrorists and traitors, and tore down corrupt political machines all across America. This department commanded the respect and admiration of the entire world. And with Pam and Cash and all of the people I introduced and far more, big numbers, and all of you sitting back there, I recognize so many of you. But with you leading the way, it'll soon be...
Okay, so first of all, the DOJ doesn't really have a choice. They gotta show up, right? They know what president they're under. These people know they will be, the first to be targeted if they step a foot of what Donald Trump wants, right? So these people, nobody should... the DOJ is completely just Donald Trump's little plaything now. Nobody should have any faith that anybody at the DOJ... maybe if we're lucky, we might have, a whistleblower here or two. But no, they're just going to do whatever he wants, right? Also, he did all this talking just now about, the FBI used to be this, revered, beautiful institution and all this shit. The thing is, what you have to realize is Donald Trump wants to remake the FBI into, the J. Edgar Hoover FBI, but on steroids. Donald Trump wants to eliminate all the independence, all the like, you know, oversight and like checks and balances. And he just wants to be able to tell, like, you know, people at the DOJ and wherever else, like, you know, do this, do that. Like, no, this is like, no, that's the thing. Like, so Department of Justice, this is like the attorneys more so, but like this is, you have to realize when Donald Trump is talking to these people, this is what he's saying to like everybody and all the agencies. So the message throughout is, forget whatever we did in the past. We're going back to the good old days where, you know, the days of like McCarthyism in the 50s, and, you know, they were like drugging the FBI and CIA and all these people were drugging people, and they were, you know, taking them, you know, off the streets, and people getting disappeared all the time. Like, we're going back. It's coming back hard and fast.
Be the most admired and most respected of all. You're going to be more respected, and I really believe that there's also a lot of things to solve, a lot of problems to solve.
A lot of problems.
But that's going to put you in the upper tier and maybe the top tier, and I believe that's going to happen. I'm so proud of the people in this room. But first, we must be honest about the lies and abuses that have occurred within these walls. Unfortunately, in recent years, a corrupt group of hacks and radicals within the ranks of the American government obliterated the trust and goodwill built up over generations. They weaponized the vast powers of our intelligence and law enforcement agencies to try and thwart the will of the American people.
Yeah, and what he's talking about here is the FBI agents who raided his home in Mar-a-Lago because he took classified documents that he was not supposed to take. This isn't like, listen, you got criminally prosecuted for a reason, buddy. Like, you don't just become president and then get all these, you know, suits thrown at you for no reason. Like, you brought this upon yourself. Just own up to it. Like, it's okay. We all make mistakes. Just own up to it, Donnie. Own up to it. That's all we're asking of you.
You remember the 51 intelligence agents that said, as an example, that Hunter Biden's laptop from hell came from Russia.
Laptop from hell.
They knew it came right from his bedroom. They knew that.
Right from his bedroom.
They knew it so well. They spied.
That's the wild thing is, like, it's fucked. Like, listen, Hunter Biden, I'm not out here defending Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden is not a hero, right? Clearly had some issues, had some shit going on in his life. Was he perhaps benefiting from his relationship as the son of the current sitting president? I imagine so. Probably. However, he was not then made, you know, head of like a department and given all this power and like made to like go on to like, which is what Donald Trump does with all his people, his family members and his business buddies and all these people. Like, it's not even comparable. It's honestly atrocious that he even tries to like twist this the way he does, but that's what he always does. That's what he's best at.
My campaign launched one hoax and disinformation operation after another, broke the law on a colossal scale, persecuted my family, staff, and supporters, raided my home, Mar-a-Lago.
Oh, there it is.
And
Mar-a-Lago.
did everything within their power to prevent me from becoming the president of the United States.
They did everything. That's why you're president now, because they did everything. They did everything in their power, and that's why you got elected again.
With the help of radicals like...
If they wanted to not make this man president again, we know what the FBI was up to back in the day. We know they could have. They could have put this... I mean, MLK, JFK, like, let's be real. Come on, you. Like, let's not be stupid. Right? That's all I'm asking.
Mark Elias, Mark Pomerantz. And these are people
now he
that
starts
nobody's
name calling.
ever seen anything like it.
Name calling the
There's
enemies.
So many others,
the enemies list
these
right
are
here.
People that are bad people. Really bad people.
Really bad
they
people.
tried to...
No, that's you.
turn
You're a really
America
bad
into a
person, Donald
corrupt,
Trump.
communist and third world country. But in the end, the thugs failed. And
Communists.
The
We're
truth won.
commies.
Freedom
All
won,
commies in the
justice
FBI.
won,
All
democracy
commies
won,
every
and
day.
above all, the American people won. There could be no more heinous betrayal of American values than to use the law to terrorize the innocent and reward the wicked. And that's what they were doing at a level that's never been seen
No one warns the
before.
wicked.
And it's
No
exactly
one
what
warns
you
the
saw
wicked.
with Joe Biden, Merrick Garland, and their cronies to do the building of the last 4 years. What they've ripped down is incalculable.
Incalculable.
But what you're going to build up is likewise something that
Likewise,
will be breaking
incalculable.
all sorts of records.
All sorts of
These
records.
Violent criminals while targeting patriotic parents at school board meetings. They drop charges against Antifa and Hamas supporters while labeling traditional Catholics as domestic terrorists. The Catholics, we did very well with the
No, they're
Catholic
just
vote, so
rapists.
I want to thank them for that. They really did record numbers. I would say, what's with the Catholics? They're really after the Catholics, so I don't know. They were after a lot of people. Maybe they didn't even know why. They imported illegal alien murderers, drug dealers, and child predators from all over the world to come into our country while putting elderly Christians.
Says the man whose name is listed 7 times on the Epstein flight logs. Let's not forget that. This man listed 7 times on the Epstein flight logs, released 10 years ago, which were the same ones that Pam Bondi tried to re-release as the Epstein file drop. Right. Okay, buddy.
And pro-life
Okay, buddy.
activists on trial for singing hymns and for saying prayers. They went to jail for that.
Yeah, no, they didn't go to jail for that. They did that after they went to jail. They went to jail because they fucking raided a public building. And, yeah, listen, you just arrested people who showed up to your hotel the other day. So I don't think you're one to talk, buddy.
Our predecessors turned this Department of Justice into the Department of Injustice. But
Department, that's what I'm going to title this video. I was just, that's what I'm titling this video. Department of Injustice.
Before
There it
you
is. I
today
just
to
found it.
declare that those days are over, and they are never going to come back. They're never coming back.
Never coming. Never, baby. Never, ever, ever.
So now, as the chief law enforcement officer in our country, I will insist upon and demand full and complete accountability for the wrongs and abuses that have occurred. The American people have given us a mandate like
Big
few
mandate.
people thought possible. We won
Almost
every
as big
single
as my
swing state.
hands. Big mandate.
We won the popular vote by millions and millions of people. We won districts.
Pretty slim margin, actually. Pretty slim margin.
2,750.
Comparatively to,
Think
like,
of that, 2,750
comparatively to, like, Ronald
compared to
Reagan.
505. So we won it at levels that have, I don't believe, ever seen before. That's the one where you see the map of the United States, and it's all red. Red for Republican, not for communist. Red for Republican.
Red for empty counties.
They would like it to turn red for communist, but it didn't work out that way.
No, it didn't. It did
American people have
it did
given
not.
us a
They shut the
mandate
commies
and
down a long time ago in
really
this country.
just a far-reaching investigation.
Speaking of things that have to be
is
the
what
good
they
old
are demanding
days
into
of the
corruption
FBI,
of
what
our
we used to
system.
do.
And that's exactly, I'm sure, what Pam and Cash and everyone else mentioned here and not mentioned is going to be doing. We will expel the rogue actors and corrupt forces from our government. We will expose and very much expose their egregious crimes and severe misconduct, of which was levels you've never seen anything like it. It's going to be legendary. It's going to also be legendary for the people that are able to seek it out and bring justice. We will restore.
It's going to be legendary for Cash Patel and Pam Bondi. That's all I'm saying.
That such
It's gonna be
abuses
legendary for
never
them.
happen again in our country. And that's why on day one I signed an executive order banning all government censorship and directing the removal of every bureaucrat who conspired to attack free speech and many other things and values in America. My administration stripped the security clearances of the disgraced intelligence agents who lied about Hunter Biden's laptop from hell. We revoked
The laptop from
clearances
hell.
of deranged Jack Smith, Alvin
Deranged.
Bragg,
Oh, yeah.
Letitia James, and the crooked law firm.
They're naming no, now he's naming the real ones. Listen, I'm going to rewind that again. These are the
laptop
names.
from hell.
These are the
We
names.
revoked the clearances of deranged Jack Smith,
Jack Smith,
Alvin Bragg,
Alvin Bragg,
Letitia James,
Letitia James. Remember these people. They might not be around much longer. That's all I'm saying.
and the crooked law firms that aided their partisan persecutions. And I went through it. These are state and city courts, and the corruption is unbelievable. We also terminated the clearances of the Biden crime family and Joe Biden himself. He didn't deserve it. fact, he was essentially found guilty, but they said he was incompetent, and therefore let's not find him guilty, I guess. Nobody knows what that ruling was, but I didn't want any part of it. I think I would have rather been found guilty.
That's actually the wild thing is the ruling actually said, it didn't say that. It said, what the ruling said was that Joe Biden was old and perhaps incompetent, but that he hadn't done anything wrong. But that was his greatest fault, basically, was that he was like an old, aging man. Which wasn't great for, you know, I mean, obviously, that was very clear, and that's why he wasn't allowed to run again. Depending, I mean, there's a lot of, listen. My personal opinion, Bernie Sanders should have been elected in 2016 and had 2 terms. So that's my 2 cents there, but
Guilty, then
enough of that.
What they found with him, they said he didn't know what the hell he was doing, and therefore he's let him go. I said, you know, I'd rather be convicted, Pam, I think, than that. That was not, I said, please convict me, don't say that. I pardoned hundreds of political prisoners who had been grossly
Political
mistreated.
prisoners.
We removed the senior FBI officials who misdirected resources to send SWAT teams after grandmothers and J6 hostages. And it was a great honor for me to fire, I will tell you this, a great honor to fire James Comey. A great
Get him
honor.
out!
That was nothing. There was
You
no
don't want
better day.
you, Jim.
A lot of people said, oh,
Get him
that's too bad
out.
you did
Get
that.
Comey out.
They said that's going to be, and you know what? A year later, they said that actually saved the administration because the level of corrupt things that we learned after that turned out to be that they were doing, in fact, really bad things. He was a...
Once again, that's not a point I will dispute. I think the FBI has done and is doing and is capable of doing a lot of bad things, which is once again why it matters a lot who is at the top of the agency and what they're willing to do with it. Case in point.
Terrible person, did terrible things and persecuted people, and all in the guise of being an angel, but he wasn't an angel. We created a brand new DOJ task force and anti-Christian bias, and under Director Patel, we're getting the FBI agents out of the headquarters in Washington, D.C.
The FBI is the best at going after the Christian. We don't do anything but go after the Christians, dude. Nothing but that. Nothing but that at the
streets in
FBI.
pursuit of dangerous criminals where they belong and where they want to be. And you know, you have that big FBI building, and it's a very big building, and they were going to build an FBI headquarters 3 hours away in Maryland, a liberal state, but that has no bearing on what I'm about to say. But we're going to stop it. Not going to let that happen.
A liberal state has no bearing on what I say, but we're gonna stop that shit at all costs.
Another
Never.
big FBI building right where it is, which would have been the right place because the FBI and the DOJ have to be near each other.
They have to be. Everything has to be super close. Here's the thing. Hear me out here. Donald Trump spends all day long ragging on the commies, the leftist lunatics. And yet I've never heard of a motherfucker who is more for centralized government than this motherfucker.
That's one thing I did learn from this persecution. The FBI and the DOJ work together. Now, in my case, they work together for bad purposes, but they do. They were always together. So how can you have one that's 3 hours away? But one thing I said to Cash, well, we're going to get a great building built. It's going to be a magnificent building. He said, sir, we don't need that kind of room. I said, what do you mean? He said, I'm just going to take a old Department of Commerce building that's about 25% the size.
That's right. That's the beautiful thing. Here's the thing. You just get to shut down one agency and then just move your people right in there. It's as easy as that.
And that's what I need. We're going to have the best staff that you've ever seen, and that's what I need. It's in a nice location, but I don't need that big building. Why don't you just sell the site to somebody? And we're going to be very happy. And they want to have far fewer people. But we also want to have them in D.C. And if for no other reason, we like having law enforcement walking the streets of our capital.
You got to have the law enforcement walking the streets of the Capitol to make sure people don't protest. You got to make sure people don't use their First Amendment right to utilize their free speech. Make sure that doesn't happen. Wouldn't want any of that.
When the bad guys are out there and they see there's an FBI agent, that's the ultimate in law enforcement. and they're not going to be acting so bad. We're cleaning up our city. We're cleaning up this great capital, and we're not going to have crime, and we're not going to stand for crime. And we're going to take the graffiti down, and we're already taking the tents down.
We're going to take the graffiti down. We're going to take the tents down.
Working with the administration, and if the administration can't do the job, we're going to have to take it back and run it through the federal government.
That's right.
We hope
That's right. That's right. Yeah, listen. Y'all thought you were voting for small government? Fuck you. If you thought you were voting for small government, fuck you.
The administration's going to be able
fuck
to
you.
Doing very well. The mayor's been doing a good job. We said there are tents galore right opposite the State Department. They have to come down, and they took them down right away.
I'm about to pitch a tent out there right now.
So far, so good. But we want to have a capital that can be the talk of the world. When Prime Minister Modi of India, when the President of France, and all of these people, the head of Prime Minister of United Kingdom, they all came to see me over the last week and a half.
They did. They did.
And when they come in, I had the route run. I didn't want to have them see tents. I didn't want to have them see graffiti.
Oh, God forbid they see people suffering in our country. God forbid they see the effects of capitalism ravaging our country. Oh, God forbid. We wouldn't want to show that off to the rest of the world. Hide that shit. Actually, you know what? Just deport them all. You know what? If they're poor, if they're homeless, just deport them. Just send them to Gitmo. We got more room there, right? I mean, I saw the satellite images. I think they have room for a lot more compounds at Gitmo, as far as I am concerned. Like, I think you could, like, basically stack that island front to back just with, like, places to send them. Like, for sure. Let's do it.
I didn't want to have them see broken barriers and potholes in the roads, and we had it looking beautiful. And we're going to do that for the city. And we're going to have a crime-free capital. When people come here, they're not going to be mugged or shot or raped. They're going to have a crime.
No mugging, no shooting, no raping. No raping, Donald Trump. Just remember that. Remember, you said that. No raping. I didn't say that. You said that.
Free capital again. It's going to be cleaner and better and safer than it ever was, and it's not going to take us too long. There's a new phenomena that is taking place with these violent, vicious lawyers that we have all over. They play the ref. You know what playing the ref is? Like the great Bobby Knight basketball coach. He'd scream and scream at the ref. He'd scream. I watched it. By the way, I love Bobby Knight because he endorsed me, and having Bobby Knight's endorsement in Indiana was an extremely good thing. A friend of mine said I was running in Indiana at the time. This was early on, 2016. And I was doing great. Dude. But a friend came up and said, "You know Bobby Knight?" I said, "No, I don't." But
how long is he just going to talk about Bobby Knight?
2 years before, he said, "Sir, he had right."
He's talking about Bobby Knight.
It was not good, but he had a little chip in his shoulder. But so he said, "You know Bobby Knight phenomenon?" I took his number paper, like nice and neat, years ago. And I said, "Let me see if I can find it." It was almost wrote, and on each side of my desk in New York, I had.
Okay, that was all about Bobby Knight, as far as I could tell. So we're just gonna skip it.
Stacks of paper, like nice and neat, but about 2 feet high each. And I said, I wrote his number down and I put it here 2 years ago. And I said, let me see if I can find it. It was almost like a miracle. I had other miracles that happened too. My ear is still throbbing.
Yeah, wow. It's actually kind of, you know what? You know what's actually kind of wild? It's kind of amazing how good his ear looks. You know? It's actually you know what? The wild thing is, and I haven't seen any close-up photos, but it's kind of, you know what? It's kind of interesting. His ear doesn't look that bad. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. That looks like a good ear to me, dude. Looks like a good ear to me.
That was a miracle. Yeah. That was a miracle also, wasn't it?
Also, I will say this is separate from the rest of because my content, I do try to, provide facts and like presentation and like the real shit. This is my personal opinion here. Assassination attempt was definitely staged by Trump himself for sure. Convinced of that. He definitely he's a WWE guy, so he knows how to go in and like nick the ear. He had probably a little pocket knife on him. Like, for sure that shit was fake.
The miracle also. Thank you. Thank you, Leo. Thank you. Thank you, my man.
You and you.
That was a miracle. Anyway, okay, that's it. That's very nice. Thank you. But so he said, Bobby Knight. So I said, I put his name down and I wrote it down. It's in one of these stacks. I lifted up. It would have to be 2,000-3,000.
He's still fucking talking about Bobby Knight. I don't want to hear about Bobby Knight. Fuck.
I've been.
How long is this motherfucker? This motherfucker is talking. The president is talking. The DOJ. He's talking about motherfucking Bobby Knight, dude.
He actually
still talking about Bobby Knight. God damn it! Is this so about Bobby Knight?
In Indiana, and it was over. It was over. He was a happy guy too. If he has to, we'll use this time. If we do the job, one of the. I think this is. More amazing. What's taken place has been more amazing.
We got back to
more consequential, and
I never want to hear Bobby Knight's name again in my life. Just saying that.
Do the job. One of the big media outlets said what we did was the most consequential election in the last 129 years. Well,
yeah, it might have been. Might have been.
We do the job that we're all capable of doing. I think it's going to prove to be that and then some. And that's what we want to do. We have a real big shot at making this country so great, so great. What happened to our country was so sad. What they've done in 4 years to our country with the borders, with Afghanistan, the most embarrassing period of time, allowing the Russian situation.
The pull out of Afghanistan that you actually signed into order, and I'm not saying Biden did a perfect job. I'm not saying it, but it was your choice. So at least take some responsibility. Be like, you know what? Maybe I could have had the timing better too. Maybe I am also a human being who is capable of making mistakes every once in a while. Maybe I'm not like a god, like some fucking golden orange fucking spray tan god who fucking has to wave around how great I am all the time. Yeah, maybe you're a human too, and maybe you're actually just a piece of shit.
It was never going to happen with Ukraine. Allowing October 7th to happen would have never happened because under me, Iran was totally broke. They had no money. They weren't giving any money to Hamas or Hezbollah. It was totally broke. But allowing inflation, look at what inflation's done to people.
Benjamin Netanyahu, by the way, was one of the biggest funders, maybe not of Hezbollah, but definitely of Hamas. Benjamin Netanyahu let a lot of money get to Hamas leading up to October 7th and even throughout that whole thing, I believe. I don't know, but definitely around that time, for sure.
People have been so devastating, and now you see that, by the way, price of eggs is down 35% in the last week and a half.
Yeah, down 35% from $12. First of all, I don't believe it's down 35%. Second of all, 35% down from $12.
We're doing a good job. Brooke is doing a good job. Brooke Rollins and everybody.
Good job. Keep it going. That's right.
Inflation's down, interest rates are down, gasoline has come down to...
If I worked at the DOJ, I would be clapping. I would be clapping if I was in that room, dude. I'd be clapping. Yes, Mr. President. Yes.
A level that we haven't seen in a long time. All things that we wanted to do, because then everything else is going to be coming down. We want it to come down. We want bacon to come down, and groceries, a term I used to use. It's sort of an old...
It's going to come down. It's going to come down from the skies. Bacon rain and the prices the prices will go down just almost as fast as our GDP.
Fashion term, but I used to use it on the campaign trail. Those last 90 perfect, beautiful days, we just hit it. And I want to thank Susie. You have done a great job, Susie Wiles.
Thank you, Susie. Are you proud of yourself, Susie? Thank you, Susan
A big
Wiles.
magazine just named her the most powerful woman in the world, and that's okay with me. She is the most powerful woman. You think about it, John, right? The most powerful woman in the world. But she's
I don't
great.
know what John he was talking
and
to.
we had a great
Maybe
90 days.
Her
it was
husband.
A perfect 90 days,
Probably
and it was a great result. But we want to put that result to good use by doing a phenomenal job. And I want to tell you that Todd and Emil know this very well. We had an amazing judge in Florida, and Her name is Eileen Cannon.
Oh yeah, this is when you start
I
talking
didn't
about
know her.
Eileen
I
Cannon.
still don't know her. I don't.
Oh god,
believe
we're
I
only
ever
20
spoke
minutes
to her
into
even
this
during
shit.
the
Oh,
trial.
I got so long.
But
You know what? I'm just gonna. I gotta
appointed
take a
federal
piss.
judge,
I've heard this bit already. It's just
and
she's
these
just
fake
talking about
lawyers,
Eileen
these
Cannon.
horrible
I gotta
human
take a
beings
piss.
were hitting her so
I'll be right back.
hard. Public
Keep
relations
watching our
wise, they were
president. This is
playing the
number
ref.
47.
I don't think it's legal. I don't think it's legal. They might as well go out and just shout it in a courthouse. They were saying she was slow, she wasn't smart, she was totally biased, she loved Trump. I didn't know her, other than I saw her the couple of days that I was in court, and I thought her decorum was amazing. Anything bad they could say, though, they were saying about her, it was whatever they could say bad about a human being, all made up. Because actually she was brilliant. She moved quickly. She was the absolute model of what a judge should be. And she was strong and tough. And how do you get them to stop if you're a judge? How do you get them to stop with the playing the ref? Bobby Knight would play the ref. That's why I brought up the Bobby Knight story. He would play the ref. He'd scream at the ref. He'd scream so hard. Oh, boy, it was terrible, actually. And the people would come up, his assistant coaches would come up to place. Coach, don't do that. Don't do it. He said he's not going to change his tune, Coach. He called it. He's not changing. I don't care. And he's screaming. That's when he threw the chair. He starts going crazy. And he said, no, he's not going to change this time, but he's going to change for the next play. And sure as hell he did. You know, Bobby, by the way, had the last undefeated team in basketball.
All right, what'd I miss?
And relatively speaking, you know, he had that team. He always had a team. He never had that.
He's not talking about Bobby Knight again, is he?
Players, obviously. If Coach, don't do that. Don't do it. He don't care. And he's screaming. That's when he threw the chair. He starts going crazy. And he said, no, he's not going to change this time, but he's going to change for the next play. And sure as hell he did. You know, Bobby, by the way, had the last undefeated team in basketball.
I don't want to hear about
A
sports.
couple of great teams, but he basketball. He was 21. Family post. And what do you do to get rid of it? You convict Trump. All you have to do is be.
We missed something good
these
there.
People
Here.
say, and the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, and MSDNC,
Wall Street Journal,
and the fake news, CNN, and
MSDNC. I fuck with that. That's pretty good. I'll give him that. MSDNC. That's a keeper. That is a keeper.
CBS and NBC, and they'll write whatever they say. And
All right,
what do you
whatever
do
they say.
to get rid of it? You convict Trump. All you have to do is be really tough on him and ultimately convict him, and they leave you alone.
Yeah, because you committed multiple felonies, my dude. Like, my dude, you don't have the FBI raid your home to pick up some classified documents you accidentally took with you for no reason, my dude.
Alone. It's totally illegal what they do. I just hope you can all watch for it, but it's totally illegal. And it was so unfair what they were doing to her. But they do it all the time with judges. But in her case, she was very courageous, and it only made her angry. Wouldn't you say? It just made her angry. She didn't like it. A lot of them say, oh, please don't say that.
I don't like it.
My family, what's my husband?
I don't like it. Donald Trump tries to engage in a conversation with one person who disagrees with him. And he's just like, she's just somebody who doesn't like it. She's nah. I love our president, dude. Such a good man.
What's my wife going to say, or my kids? Please don't say that. And
please don't say that.
It had absolutely no impact on her in the case against me, which was a case. I will not use a bad word. I promised my wife I would never use a bad word. So just
I promised Melania I would never grab him by the pussy. I mean,
a little bad. The case against me was bullshit. And she correctly dismissed it. She correctly.
Also, listen to that applause. You know these people in the DOJ. They like Trump. That's not good for us. That's not good for you and me. That's not good. Not good.
She correctly. Look at Emil. He's looking. That's interesting. But these two guys were warriors. You got a warrior here. You got two warriors, I can tell you that. You got a whole bunch of them. But, and they wouldn't quit. They wouldn't take no for an answer. They just wouldn't quit. These two
Don't
people
quit.
right up here,
Never quit.
some others that are involved with it indirectly. And what the lawyers do is they're doing it to the Supreme Court justices, hoping that they'll be overcome by the horrible things they say about them. They say things about Supreme Court justices and judges that are just horrible. They're playing the ref.
Like what y'all are saying about not Omi, I called her Omi. Amy Coney Barrett right now? Yeah? Something like that? Something along those lines?
Remember the way they treated Justice Thomas and Justice Alito and Justice Kavanaugh, Justice Gorsuch. Chief Justice Roberts get treated unbelievably badly, and they're hoping that they can sway them to go along because, again, what do? They're humans. You know, like it would be wonderful if everybody was just a perfect computer machine.
Oh, there it is! There it is! He spilled the beans right there! He's been talking to Elon a little bit too much recently. They're ready to put let's just play that back for y'all.
And sway them to go along because, again, what do? They're humans. You know, like it would be wonderful if everybody was just a perfect computer machine.
It would be wonderful if everybody was just a perfect computer machine. You just do exactly what I tell you to.
But they're not. They're humans.
Yeah. You know what? We are humans. We live on a planet full of other humans, Mr. President Donald Trump.
They don't want to be accused of many, many things, including gross incompetence. They don't like it, and they don't want it. There's not much they can do about it. You know, they're in a position they can't really fight back really very well. And so what they do is sometimes they get weak. I would say a majority, maybe, of the times. That's why I'm so impressed with Judge Cannon in Florida, how strong she was, how she held up. It actually made her more resolute than anything I've seen.
Because she's a fucking cuckold.
I mean, it was amazing because they were hitting her so hard. It was so sad to watch this.
And also a dumb bitch.
But it's sad what they do to other judges. It's very sad what they do to the Supreme Court. And a lot of the judges that I had, if you look at them, they take tremendous abuse in the New York Times and the Washington Post, all of the different networks. They take such abuse. And honestly, very simply, they're afraid of bad publicity. They don't want bad publicity. And it's truly interference, in my opinion, and it should be illegal, and it probably is illegal in some form. There's no difference than speaking to a judge or shouting to a judge or doing whatever you have to do in a courthouse. They're doing it behind the back. They're usually doing it anonymously. They're saying anonymously, off the record, the judge is no good, but everybody knows where it's coming from. And it's totally coordinated. It's a campaign, and it's by the same scum that you have been dealing with for years, like guys like Andrew Weissman, deranged Jack Smith.
We got some more names here. Andrew Weissman. First of all, shout out my boy Andrew Weissman. This is the political prosecution and persecution happening right in front of our eyes. He's calling the names. These are the people. Watch these names. Keep an eye on these names. Watch them in the news.
And it's totally coordinated. It's a campaign, and it's by the same scum that you have been dealing with for years, like guys like Andrew Weissman, deranged Jack Smith. There's a guy named Norm Eisen. I don't even know what he looks like. His name is Norm Eisen of Crew. He's been after me for 9 years. I don't know who Norm Eisen is. I'm not gonna lie. Now, Crew is a charitable organization. And the reason I'm saying this, Todd, is I'm only going to get one chance to say this. But these are bad people. I don't know who he is. I don't know what he looks like. But everything I read is Norm Eisen of Crew. And Crew is a charitable organization. And that's a political thing. His sole life is to get Donald Trump. And he's been
actually, that's been the point of a lot of people's lives lately. And I wonder why.
Vicious and violent. And he's trying, and he probably had pretty good success over the years. But with me, how do we do? I think I'm president. Am I here because I'm president? But we had to take all of that abuse, even during the trials.
Is he? Am I here because I'm president? Am I?
We had to take tremendous abuse, like, these wonderful guys. They're not legitimate people. They're horrible people. They're scum. And, You have to know that. And you're going to have these cases where you can't allow yourselves to be deflected. You just can't let it happen. You have such a higher calling. And I believe that CNN and MSDNC, who literally write 97.6% bad about me,
that's such a precise figure too. 97.6. Donald Trump, where did you come out? Can you cite that source for me? Donald Trump, I would love to hear where 97.6 came. That's a very precise number for the amount. I don't know why I'm trying to engage.
You're going to have these cases where
appreciate that
you can't allow yourselves to be deflected. You just can't let it happen. You have such a higher calling. And I believe that CNN and MSDNC, who literally write 97.6% bad about me, are political arms of the Democrat Party. And in my opinion, they're really corrupt and they're illegal. What they do is illegal. It makes no difference how big a victory I had. I can have the biggest victory in history. It makes no difference what...
The biggest victory in history! Oh my god, it was so big, dude! Oh my god, I've never seen anything quite that big, my boy.
Kind of a failure the other side has. These people are going to go after me, and I said it during the big speech on Tuesday night. I said about Democrats, and I don't like that. I have great respect, by the way, for what Schumer did today. He went out and he said that we're going to have to vote with the Republicans because it's the right thing to do. I couldn't believe what I heard. But, I think he's going to get some credit for it. I think. Let's see what happens tonight with the big vote as it comes.
No, we know what happened, and Chuck Schumer folded like the fucking flaccid-ass piece of cardboard off the side of the street that he is. And that's why we need to primary him. We need to primary Chuck Schumer and the other 10 Democrats who all voted against it, and perhaps some more Democrats to come. We will find out. Dinos, that's my new term, by the way. I don't think I've mentioned that before on here, but dinos, they're dinos. That's what I'm terming them. Trump came up with the rhinos, they're dinos. Democrats in name only.
But these networks and these newspapers are really no different than a highly paid political operative. And it has to stop. It has to be illegal. It's influencing judges.
It has to be illegal.
And it's really changing law. And
it's almost like having a free press is an impediment to just me being able to do whatever the fuck I want. It's almost like, why are all these like journalists out here like reporting on the news? Ew, gross.
And it just cannot be legal. I don't believe
cannot
it's legal.
Be legal.
And they do it in total coordination with each other, and everything we do, we're restoring law.
It's almost like people are trying to share like empirical facts and evidence with each other, like kind of like how you do like basic empirical science and like research. Wow, it's almost like they're trying to do it on purpose.
Restoring order and restoring public safety in America. That's what we want to do.
Restore
and
that
we're
shit.
Bringing honor and integrity and accountability back to the highest levels of the FBI, DOJ, and throughout our government. We're bringing our country back faster than anyone ever thought possible. We're working so hard at doing it, and we want fairness in the courts. The courts are a big factor. The elections, which were totally rigged, are a big factor. We have to have honest elections. We have to have borders. And we have to have courts. And
we have to have borders that make sure they expand up into Canada and maybe the Panama Canal, maybe Gaza, maybe fucking... Oh, I forgot Greenland. Greenland, obviously. That's just... I'm taking that one for granted at this point.
Law that's fair. Well, we're not going to have a country. Crooked Joe Biden got us into a real mess with Russia and everything else he did, frankly. But he didn't know about it. And he, generally speaking, signed it with AutoPen. So how would he know? That AutoPen is a big deal. I don't know. They're having who's doing it?
Says the man with the Sharpie, fucking signing fucking dozens upon dozens of EOs, and I know you don't even know how to read, so don't even come at me.
When my people come up, Will, and all of the people, Steve, They come up and, sir, this is an executive order. They explain it to me, and 90% of the time I sign it. 99% of the time I say do it, but they come up and I sign it. But you don't use auto pen. It's
99% of the time I sign it, but you don't use auto pen. 99% of the time I will just say yes. 99% of the time, Howard Lutnick, Kash Patel, Pete Hegseth, I'll sign off on it, yeah. But it's not on auto pen.
One, it's disrespectful to the office. Number two, maybe it's not even valid because, who's getting him to sign? He had no idea what the hell he was doing. If he did, all of these bad things wouldn't be happening right now. But we're going to get you back into a great position, and we've already started. They say that we had the most successful first month of presidency. Not a long time, but it's still a lot. It's like if you're a golfer, sinking a 3-foot putt on the first hole gives you confidence to sink something on the second hole. But if you miss that first putt, you don't like to have the putt on the second hole and the third hole. It could be a very bad experience. It's nice to get that first month, and now we have more than a...
I love how many Donald Trump is just making so many golf analogies so that he can demonstrate that he has been playing a lot of golf lately. He's been spending a lot of his presidency playing golf and letting Elon Musk run the government behind the scenes.
Now we have a month and a half, and it's going really, really well. I can tell you as a little secret, although the cameras are blazing back there, so it's not that much. But I think we're doing well, as you have been hearing about Ukraine. I think we're doing now well with Russia. We're speaking with President Putin. We want to get the war over. Not only have we spent maybe $350 billion to Europe's, think of that, $350 billion to $100 billion, and yet we're across the ocean.
We didn't spend any money. We sent them outdated military equipment that would have been more expensive to have disposed of on our own. So we were actually saving money by sending old military equipment to be put to better use. So maybe I should be in charge of the economy at this point. I mean, if we're just elected anybody these days, maybe somebody put me in charge. Fucking Howie Lutnick, I'm coming for your job. More like suck, Nick. Suck dick. Suck dick, that's the suck dick. Lutnick.
Far away, so it shouldn't have been that way, but Biden let that happen too. And we're getting a deal where we're going to get that back, but much more importantly are the lives that we're talking about. On average, 2,000 young people are being killed every single day. Now, they're not from here. They're from nowhere close to here, but they're young people. They're human beings, and they have parents. They have sisters and brothers, the mothers and fathers, the friends and the families and the towns.
Put them in cages. Separate the children from the mothers and the fathers. And put them in cages.
Where they grew up. And they're losing, on average, 2,000, even 2,500 a week. And I want to get it stopped.
A week.
We've had some very good calls today with Russia. And with Ukraine, they've agreed for a ceasefire if we can get it with Russia. And it's not easy. It's a tough one.
It's a tough
but I think
that's right. Yeah, Donald Trump. Oh, they won, yeah. No, it was a tough one. It's a tough one. Turns out Zelensky wasn't willing to just fucking give up his country for nothing. Turns out Canada isn't willing to just become the 51st state. Turns out the Panamanians don't really just want to hand over the canal. Turns out you're not the only person on this fucking planet, Donald Trump.
Doing it, and as the Secretary General said yesterday of NATO, a terrific guy, he said without Trump, we wouldn't be talking about it. It would just go on for years, and millions of people have been killed, but millions more people would be killed. And he said it was a great honor without me.
What do you think talking about? What is this dude
it would just keep
talking
going
about
on.
it?
We're looking for the
The Republicans started the war on terror. If this all comes down to like, oh, we're this global terrorist state, and we have all these it was George Bush, it was the Republic. It's always been the Republicans, dude. The Republicans have always been the bad guys, dude. Literally always. And not always. Actually, no, not always, because Abraham Lincoln but I'm talking about for like the past like 50 years.
About it, we've had some very good responses. And
let's just fucking be real, okay? That's all I'm asking. All I'm asking of us here today.
I can tell you that there was a case where there would have been no war if I were president.
No war.
It's just 100.
Getting ready to invade fucking Greenland and Canada and Mexico and wherever, Panama, wherever the fuck else. But no war.
Would not have happened. Would never have happened. I used to speak to.
We're deporting the Gazans and fucking building Trump Gaza. No war.
Putin a lot about it. I said, don't do it. Don't do it. I won't tell you what the consequence was. I won't tell you what he said. But if he believed even 5% of what I said, then he would say, I'm not going to do it. And I think he did. But we had a good relationship, and we had a professional relationship, and his respect for this country. And I think we've had some very good results. So, I haven't been able to say that to anybody else. I haven't wanted to say it until just before I came here. I got some pretty good news. But we have to see what happens. It's still a long way to go. The fighting is unbelievable. Russia has a large group of Ukrainian soldiers, as we speak, surrounded and in grave danger. They've been able to surround them. They're in grave danger. Biden should have never let this war happen. First of all, you don't want to pick on somebody that's a lot larger than you, even with the money. There's a lot of money that we gave them and a lot of equipment. We make the best military equipment in the world, but even with all of that, it's unbelievable. Right now you have a lot of Ukrainian soldiers that are encircled and in grave danger, and I've asked them not to kill those soldiers, please, not to kill those soldiers. We don't want them killed. It's such a shame to see what's happened. A thing like that would have never happened. Inflation would have never happened. October 7th would have never happened. Iran had no money. They were totally broke. Think of it. They had no money to give to anybody. They were totally broke. And within a short period of time, as soon as Biden came in, he took out all the sanctions. In China and everybody else that wasn't buying oil from Iran was buying it at levels that they never spent before. And it was a sad thing. And if you look at Afghanistan, that was probably what got Putin started, because when he looked at how horribly we looked. I think the most embarrassing day, not that we got out because we were getting out. I would have been out faster than them. I was the one that got it down to the right level. But we would have kept Bagram, the big Air Force base. We would have kept it. Right now, China occupies Bagram. And the reason we would have kept it is...
Not gonna lie. Once again, I don't like the man. But every once in a while, he might make a good point here and there. Maybe certain aspects. But here's the thing, though. We're out of Afghanistan. We're out of there. So, is that what you wanted, or did you want to keep the big
Because they were 1 hour away from where China has and builds its nuclear missiles and weapons, and they gave that up. At the dark of night, they left the lights on, and they left the dogs behind, by the way. A lot of people say, what about all the dogs? A lot of dogs.
A lot of dogs. They left the dogs behind. Oh, fucking, I know how.
What a shame. The way we got out, I think it was the most humiliating time in the history of our country. The way it happened, not that we were getting out, because we wanted to get out, but we would have gotten out with dignity and strength. And what a difference a rigged and crooked election had on our country when you think about it, and the people who did this to us.
Rigged and crooked, so rigged.
Go to jail.
So rigged.
They should go to jail.
They should go to jail.
So I just want to say God bless America, because we have to say God bless. We're lucky we're still here, frankly. And this whole thing could lead, I think we have it. But this could...
Said with such confidence, I think we have it. I'm still figuring the tariff thing out. That is still in the works. Russia, Ukraine, we're still figuring that one out. Gaza, we're figured out. We're just buying Gaza. This is our president.
Lead to World War III very easily. Could very easily lead to World War III, but I think we're in pretty good shape. A lot better than we were before we got involved.
Yeah, no, World War III is happening, and it's gonna be. My prediction is it's gonna be the EU teams up with China versus the U.S. and Russia. That's my prediction. Y'all put your predictions in the comments below, but that's my prediction for World War III.
I can tell you, that was heading into World War III territory, and that would have been a war like no other because of nuclear weapons and other types of weapons that people you don't even want to know about. But as many of you do know, well, we're focused on persecuting, and these people were really focused on persecuting Republicans. The last administration presided over the worst increase in violent crime in our country in many, many decades. We had levels of violence and crime, and
crime actually went down.
A lot of it had to do with the illegal immigrants that came in. Remember when I used to complain about it?
Also, illegal immigrants per capita commit far less crime than our own native-born American citizens here at home.
I knew how tough they were, how mean they were. And they said, no, people that come into our country are all wonderful people. No, they're not wonderful. These are stone-cold killers. These are killers they make our killers look nice by comparison. They make our killers look nice. These are rough, tough people with the tattoos all over their face. Historically speaking, I don't want to discriminate against anybody, but historically speaking, they're not going to be the head of any major bank that we know of. These are rough people.
If they're not the head of a major bank, they're shit, dude. If they're not the head of a major bank, I don't give a shit about them. Let them rot.
Rough killer people, and they allowed them in by the millions. In major cities like New York, Chicago, and Washington, mothers can't walk their children to the park without fear of being shot or killed or raped or anything. Women can't ride the subway without worrying that a hoodlum will shove them onto the train tracks in New York.
I'm pretty sure you're not making that any better, Donald.
It's happened twice in the last couple of weeks. They're standing there, perfect.
Like, I will admit that is a problem. I think we all admit that's a problem, but I don't think you're the cure to that problem, Mr. 7 times on the Epstein list. Once again, in case I had to remind you all. 7 times on the Epstein list. Grab him by the pussy. Made comments about his own daughter. This is the man.
Wall Street gentleman in one case, and another person who was a worker, good worker, electrician, gets pushed into a train going 45 miles an hour just prior to the train, not stopping, going to go through that. I know the stations very well. I used to take the subway. I used to feel safe. When I was young, my parents would drop me off at the subway. I'd take the subway to my school. Can you believe it? Today, they wouldn't be doing that. And we want to get a country back maybe where you can do that again, Pam. But it's so sad to see what's taking place under the Biden regime. Average monthly homicides increased by 14%. Property crime rose tremendously. Violent crime went up at least 37% that they know of. Rape soared by 42%. Car theft rose by 48%. And robberies surged to 60%.
I don't know what numbers they're going off of. I'm already calling bullshit on most of these. I think maybe on a few areas he's right, but I've kind of also been looking at it's been reported recently, maybe not super duper recently, but over the course of the past few years that we're yes, crime will always be an issue, and that's why we have to support law enforcement to a certain degree. Every democratic civilization has law enforcement. We have police, we have laws, and therefore we have to enforce them. That's kind of the deal with being a place with rules and shit, right? But the rules, as long as you follow them, you generally won't get in trouble. Isn't that the point Republicans used to make? If you follow the rules, you won't get in trouble. And but now it's just they make their own rules so they can get anybody in trouble. That's why you see, people like Mahmoud Khalil getting fucking sent to get I almost said sent to Gitmo. He's about to get sent to Gitmo. He's in Louisiana right now. But yeah, if you haven't heard about that, look into that. But
3 to 100%. They don't even know what the number is. And I have no higher mission as President of the United States and to end this killing and stop this law-breaking and to making America safe again. And that's what you're all about in this room. We want to protect Americans, and we protect everybody that's in our country, American or not American. We want to have a safe and proud country. We're joined today by dozens of police officers, sheriffs and sheriff's deputies from all across the country. My message to these law enforcement heroes is simple. With me in the White House, you once again have a president who will always have your back, will always have your back.
That's all they want to hear. All they want to hear is, as long as I commit the war crimes, but the president has my back. We good, homie. We good, homie.
Thank you. That's a lot of good-looking people. I will tell you, I feel safe. I'm glad you're in the room. I feel even safer. It's a lot of great people. On day one, I signed an executive order directing Attorney General to ensure that anyone who murders a police officer immediately, with as fast a trial as we can have.
It's already so illegal to... No, people don't get away with murdering police officers. That's not a problem. The problem is not with people murdering... Like, you even spit at a police officer and you're fucked. That is not the problem.
The death penalty.
That is not the problem. Oh, my Lord.
I fired all the radical left pro-crime U.S. attorneys appointed by Joe Biden. There were so many that were bad. And I know there were some that were probably very good, but there were so many that were so bad and so evil, so corrupt. Instead of having Marxist prosecutors...
I'm not corrupt, you're corrupt.
...who want to put police officers in handcuffs and go after a police officer rather than a criminal, I appointed patriotic, tough-on-crime warriors who will partner with police to put dangerous offenders behind bars, put them in jail. We're fully reviving 1033 program to provide state and local law enforcement with surplus military equipment, that we have so much of it. I did it in my last... We're fully reviving 1033 program to provide state and local law enforcement with surplus military equipment that we...
That's right! You give the military equipment to the police, and then what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do then when the police are all with the tanks? What are you gonna do?
Have so much of it. I did it in my last administration.
So much.
And I remember Obama wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. Before me, would not do it.
No, Obama wanted, he's even saying the drones, but he wouldn't do that. Even Obama was like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Because he thought it made them look too strong, too military. I said,
yes!
That's what I want them to look like. I want them to look strong. And it was protective, defensive equipment. We had billions of dollars. I gave it out, and now I'm going to have a chance to give it out again. They didn't want to do it with Biden.
This is how you get a police state. We are entering the police state. Do you all not understand when you have the president saying, yes, we are going to be giving the police and the law enforcement the surplus military equipment so that they can roll in with tanks and bazookas. Yes,
and
yes,
didn't know why.
yes.
I mean, if they would have asked him, he wouldn't have been able to answer the question. He could never answer a question. They said my press conference yesterday was longer than all of Biden's press conferences.
I'm clapping now. I'm clapping now. Yes, Mr. President.
And I don't know if that's true, but it was close.
Oh, boy. Oh, there they go.
Perhaps most importantly, we're securing our border and repelling the invasion of America. We have... You see, the numbers have come down. So, and Tom Homan and Christie have been incredible. Christie Noem, Secretary, she's done.
That's right.
Great.
Nobody gets in the country. Nobody gets in, and nobody leaves.
Tom Homan is. I don't know if Tom Homan's here, but wherever he may be, I think he's chasing people out of our country. If he was here, I'd almost be disappointed. What are you doing, Tom? But he's a fantastic guy. And he's a brave guy. Over the past 4 years, other countries emptied out their prisons and jails, mental institutions, and insane asylums, and sent the killers, drug smugglers, and bloodthirsty inmates from the filthiest dungeons of the world straight into the USA, and open border. We had an open border policy. Anybody could come in, no matter what you were, no matter where you came from, no matter what you looked like.
Open borders. The borders were just open. People were flowing through. It was numbers like you ain't never seen.
No matter what you were doing, no matter what you did, no matter how many people you murdered, you could come right into our country. We have murderers right now walking the streets. We're joined today by Tammy Nobles, whose 20-year-old daughter, Kayla, was attacked in her home 3 years ago, horrifically assaulted and strangled to death by an illegal alien MS-13 monster set loose into our country under the open border Biden regime. Kayla was one of countless American victims ripped away from their families by the open border policies.
Actually, wait, I'm going to look this up.
Open border MS-13 monster assaulted and strangled to death by an illegal alien MS-13 ago, horrifically. 20-year-old daughter, Kayla, was attacked in her home 3 years ago, horrifically.
Walter Javier Martinez. All right, let's look this guy up. I'm doing the deep dive for y'all. I'm trying to like make sure y'all understand that like I do care about this. Like it's not that I'm not paying attention. All right, so this is the guy, 19-year-old, 16 years old, country illegally from El Salvador. Oops. Oh no, that just takes you to the main ICE page. Okay. So yeah, obviously that's real. Like that's not fake, right? Like we obviously have people. Yes. Like if you have any kind of immigration system and you live in a world with human beings, you're gonna have people who cross in the country illegal. But like this is why you and here's the thing, this is all under the guise, everything up to this point has been under the guise of we're rooting out the crime, we're rooting out the criminals, we're taking them all out. And they won't make, they'll take one person here and out in there, but then at the same time they're letting in Andrew Tate back into the country, like literally, like who is in Romania, like facing like charges of like rape and like he's a bad person. He's like, if you know anything about Andrew Tate, bad person, not a good individual, right? And Donald Trump said let him back into the. So clearly, like this is not somebody who cares about like he's willing to take these selective cases if something gets big in the news and it's an immigrant. He's like, oh, I'll snatch on that. I'll take that all day long. But as far as like the white collar crime, not gonna prosecute that. The fucking fraudsters, not gonna prosecute any of that. The he's it's all a ruse. It's all a ruse. He's bullshitting you.
Assaulted and strangled to death by an illegal alien MS-13 monster set loose into our country under the open border Biden regime. Kayla was one of countless American victims ripped away from their families by the open border policies of that administration. And we're also joined by Kayla's stepfather, Jeremiah, and several other courageous angel families here today. And I'd love you to all just stand up and take a bow because you are incredible people. Please. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But I want you to know that we are working every day to expel these savages from our country and ensure that what happened to your loved ones will never happen again. So their legacy is going to be a great one. Thank you all very much. We appreciate it. On day one of my administration, I declared a national emergency on our southern border.
National emergency on the southern border. National emergency. It's an emergency, y'all.
The lowest level of
Make
illegal
it
border
stop. Make it
crossings
stop.
ever recorded. Okay, even lower than 4 years ago. For years, Democrats and the media kept saying that we needed new legislation. We had to have new legislation. We needed it immediately. And I never had legislation, and I had the best.
Imagine passing laws and like doing things through the democratic process to make things happen.
In the history of our country for almost 4 years. And by the time I got out, we had the lowest numbers ever. My favorite chart of all time was brought down that day. And on that chart said we had the lowest numbers ever. But it turned out that we really didn't need new legislation. All you needed was a new president.
All you needed was a new president. Every time. He used that line before, for sure. Somewhere at another point. But once again, just to restate it for you, all you need is a new president.
And I said that the other night. That's all you needed was a new president saying, close the borders, because the Border Patrol is unbelievable. ICE is unbelievable. And all of our law enforcement is just incredible. All of you guys are amazing. And the people of our country respect you and they love you. And a lot of times you don't hear that because you have to listen to the fake news back there. But they have great respect for you. So I just want you to know that. And that includes our fire departments too. They don't get spoken about enough. They
just randomly bring up the fire department in there.
Go into some of the areas I read where they're shooting them off ladders. Can you believe it? They go up to put out a fire, Leo, and they go and they shoot them off a ladder. It's just unbelievable. These firemen and women are incredible.
Are you talking about a real thing there? Firemen getting shot off ladders? Firemen shot off ladder. I see a lot of firefighters falling off ladders. Yeah, I don't know. I think this dude's just making shit up at this point.
So I want to put them in the same category because they're just incredible. I also like the fact they voted for me like at 94%, so I have to mention them. I have no choice, right? But the truth is they're phenomenal people. The law enforcement, fire, everybody, they're phenomenal. Basically first responders, because that's what they are. They're first responders.
And once again, I love our firemen. I also don't think maybe 94% of them voted for, but I don't know about that.
Ending the migrant occupation of America, and what we're doing now is we're liberating our cities and our suburbs and our towns, and you see a big difference. I'm getting calls all the time from even leaders of other countries saying, "Sir, the whole world feels liberated now. It feels like there's a light over America, but there's a light over the whole world." I hear that so much. It's so nice to hear, too. And I feel it. I feel it. I see the polls. I don't know if the polls are right, but they're certainly very good. I'll take them right now.
The polls, I don't know if they're right, but they're good. I'll take them right now.
It's amazing.
Also, they're not good. Like, if you've looked at a lot of polling, a lot of it is not good.
What's taken place in such a short period of time? Really 6 weeks, but it's longer than that. It's really November 5th. I think that hopefully will go down.
He said 6 weeks. It's been like 7 weeks. He's living on that because once the 6 weeks passed, it was like, it's been 6 weeks. Yeah, I mean, it was a big 6 weeks, but like, pretty sure it's been,
You do your job great. It'll go down as the most important day, one of them at least, in the history of our country. July 4th was 1776. It was pretty important too. But let's see if we can top it. Can we top it? I don't know. That's a tough one, but we're going to try. But it will be one of the most important days in the history of our country. So I think, and I think everybody in this room wants that to happen. Last month, we officially designated MS-13 and Tren de Aragua. That's the Venezuelan gang, the toughest gang, they say, in the world. And the Mexican...
Tren de Aragua! Get them out of here! Get them out of here!
That's a big deal. Nobody wanted to do that in the past.
Nobody was ever going after criminals or terrorists before this. Nobody was ever doing that before I stepped in. Nobody on the face of the planet.
By the way, we've caught hundreds of them, the Venezuelan gang, which is as bad as it gets, and you'll be reading a lot of stories tomorrow about what we've done with them. and you'll be very impressed, and you'll feel a lot safer too, because they are a vicious group. They went into Colorado. They took over.
Keep an eye on the news
areas
tomorrow.
Of Colorado. They sort of were like me. They were in the real estate business, but they didn't go out and get financing. They just took over a building and kept it. And they said to the tenants, "Get the hell out of here." One man called the police, and they cut off his fingers. And they say, "You call again, your other fingers, and you call a third time, and you're dead." These are tough people and bad people, and we're getting them out of our country. And some are so bad, we don't want to get them out. We have to put them in jail because we don't want to even take a chance that they can come back. Thanks to our efforts, Mexico recently handed over 29 of the biggest cartel leaders, including the depraved kingpin charged with the 1985 murder of DE agent Kiki Camarena. And that was a big deal, if you know. They've been looking for this person for years, many years, and we got him. This evil killer will be now prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Okay, we're getting close to that here. We got like 15 minutes.
Well, let's put it this way. I have to be nice. It's a very strong case. We're stopping the criminals pouring across our borders at record levels, and we're also stopping the massive quantities of deadly drugs. In 2023 alone, drug overdoses killed more Americans in 12 months than they did during the entire decade between 1980 and 1990, so 10 times more, but it's much higher than that. More Americans died from fentanyl last year than died in the Korean War, or the Iraq War, or the Afghanistan War, all of them combined. That's why I've placed large tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China, and they will remain in place until these deadly poisons stop pouring into our country. And I will tell you, as soon as I put on the tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China, unbelievable results have been seen in the last few weeks.
They've been unbelievable. And you know what? The wild thing is this may be the one part where he's kind of right? Like, he may be causing such global devastation and havoc right now that all the countries are literally like, okay, we have to crack down. But that doesn't mean our economy isn't going to suffer for it.
Unbelievable results. They weren't happy about it. You probably read they weren't happy, but they are working like hell to end it. They weren't.
Oh, what the hell? Hold on, I'm recording a video. Give me a minute.
Working very hard before.
My cousin trying to bust in through the door
with us
back
today
here.
is a brave mother and advocate, Ann Fundner, who lost her beautiful 15-year-old son, Weston, to fentanyl. And Ann, if you would, I'd like to ask you to come up and say a few words, please. Thank you.
They're going to have somebody come up and, okay, so they're having somebody else. That's it. Okay, I think that was probably actually a good point. So we watched a good chunk of it. They're going to have somebody get up here and say some stuff, and he closes out. I don't even really care what he says at the end. Closing thoughts. So here's the thing. We are dealing with, first of all, this is a person who is constantly deflecting. So pretty much anything, any accusation that he throws at like someone else, you can be pretty certain it's something that he's done himself to a certain extent, right? Like the corruption, the raping, the child molestation. I'm sure he's engaged in quite a bit of all of that, as well as like warmongering and all these other kinds of things. But the important point, really, first of all, this is not normal. Like the whole, he's coming up here to the DOJ, and I didn't even cover the fact that like Pam Bondi was up there with, the fake drugs and like, the shit before that, like this is a kilo of, and listen, nobody thinks like fentanyl is a good thing. Nobody thinks fentanyl, like we don't want our people taking fentanyl, right? But it's a ruse. He's got scapegoats. He's got the fentanyl coming in. He's got the immigrants. You use these scapegoats. You monger some fear. You get the people riled up, and then you can just slip whatever. So that's like, he's got Elon Musk in there with the chainsaw, cutting agencies. They're cutting down the agencies so that they can vacate the buildings to move more FBI agents in them. Like, this is the world we live in now. So yeah, if this doesn't prove to you that we're fucked, that we're like screwed, that we're absolutely toast, then you might not just be possible to convince otherwise, and that's fine, and I respect that. You probably wouldn't be here sitting through this far of this video anyway. For the people who do recognize how bad this is, like, yes, it is that bad. Well, that's why it is still more important ever than now, especially now, that those of us who recognize and know and see where this is headed, that we continue to speak up and be real about it. And, you know, that could take a lot of different forms. That can, you know, mean showing up to protests in, you know, your city or your town. It can mean, you know, calling up your congressmen and your senators and, you know, your local legislators. Like, it can mean all kinds of things. It can mean, you know, just reaching out to your family, you know, maybe certain people you haven't talked to in a while, and, you know, trying to discuss certain things with them and be real. I'm not saying it's all easy. And this is like, I definitely, you know, on a personal level, like I have people in my family who are very, you know, MAGA oriented and pro Donald Trump. And, you know, it's some people you can't convince. There's straight up we all have to recognize there's gonna be some people that you just can't convince of how bad it is. But the ones of us who know, it's important that we pay attention, because it's so easy. There's so much going on. And I do understand. I recognize the urge to just tune out, to let it all go by. Like, I'm just going to phase it out and do my own thing. And, you know, I don't really have much control on my own anyway. So I just got to, but the Republic cannot afford that right now. Like, if you're somebody who cares about the state of our country and the direction of things that we're headed and the way that Donald Trump is taking us, then now is the time to stand up, to be loud and proud and say what's on your mind, because we might not get that much longer to do that either way. So we're about to find out. But yes, this was yeah, and I didn't cover the entire thing, but I covered, you know, a good portion of it. So this was my coverage of Donald Trump's remarks at the Department of Injustice. Let me know what you all think. Leave your thoughts and your arguments down in the comments below, and I will see you all next time whenever I'm back in here to record some more content. Probably not going to be that long from now. So take it easy, y'all. Bye.